It's a real pleasure to be speaking today with the CEO of the AFD and with the Managing Director of KenGen. We're up here perched on the Ngong Hills.
Splendid.
With the wind turbines outside. May I start with you, Mr. CEO, Remy Riou. Just give us a little bit of background about the AFD, what you're doing here in Kenya, and the size of the portfolio, and what exactly is behind the visit.
So AFD is the French Development Agency. So this is the instrument for the French government to link with other people, other countries, to do positive, concrete projects for the public good, common public good, for the SDGs, which is our common agenda. We are the oldest development institution in the world, born in 1941 at the heart of World War II, but we hope to be the youngest, committed, innovative, close to its clients. And of course, most of our clients are in the region, in Africa. We passed the 10 billion euro mark in 2017, and we are expanding fast due to the strong commitment of President Macron in France from the beginning of his term. And 50% of our activity is in Africa, whole of Africa, from Casablanca to Cape Town, from Dakar to Djibouti, and be way beyond Francophone countries, of course.
It seemed to me in the last few years, there's been another push out of Francophone Africa into Anglophone Africa. Is that a correct reading?
Actually, I'm here to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the opening of our field office here in Nairobi. 2.2 billion euro invested in the country. I was in Dar es Salaam yesterday to celebrate the 10th anniversary. So it's a short period, a decade or 2 decades. But I think we are here for long term, to be long-term partners, and this is the case all over the continent.
Tell us about your relationship with KenGen. Earlier on, you were saying that you've had a very strong, long-term relationship with KenGen. Just tell us a little bit about the size of the commitment, where it is, and what you're looking to do in the future.
In the strategy of AFD, we have two high priority. One, we want to be the first agency that is 100% Paris Agreement, meaning that all our projects, programs are fully aligned to the process and to the policies set by the country. And so, of course, the energy sector is a key element in the fight against climate change. And a second big orientation I'm asking my team to follow is to go, we call it non-sovereign first, meaning that, and we know that by the French experience, we are financing our own development through the government, through sovereign lending, but also, of course, way more by other channels of financing. And of course, state-owned enterprises are key elements in that perspective. And that's where the partnership with KenGen, as well as with other state-owned enterprises here in Kenya, is so important. So we started with Geothermal, Olkaria 2, Olkaria 4, and we are expanding now in wind projects. So we will sign tomorrow at the Treasury. With you, Rebecca, we will sign a new loan, non-sovereign loan for the Meru Wind project, 60 million euro, with KfW, our German friends coming soon to expand the project. And we discussed this morning, we had an excellent meeting to discuss solar projects, pump storage, new technologies here in Kenya, dams to be revamped, re-elevated, and so many other projects to do with KenGen, and we're very pleased about that.
And what does the future look like to somebody like yourself at AFD, the future for Kenya and for KenGen?
Of course, all that we are doing, so here in Kenya we're intervening in the energy sector mostly, 1 billion, first country for
So
AFD.
nearly 50% is
Nearly
in
50%, and worldwide Kenya is our third client, and energy is probably the country where we do the most in the energy sector. We are working also on water and sanitation, and we are working on public transportation as well. Three policies, three sectors that contribute much to climate change. And we are of course fully in line on Vision 2030, on the Big Four. Well, we rely on the demand and on what the needs of the country expressed by the government, and KenGen, of course, is one of the entities expressing these demand.
May I turn to you, Madam Managing Director Rebecca. Tell us a little bit about the good news that you received today from AFDB, and how does this play into your overall strategy for KenGen?
Alican, we are excited. We are excited because the funding by AFD goes a long way in assisting us to have our strategy implemented. As you're aware, we intend to bring in about 720 megawatts by 2022. That's quite ambitious, and this is one of the projects. Meru Wind is one of the projects that we are working on towards that 721. So it's really exciting.
And how would you describe your relationship with AFD?
Our relationship with AFD, it's a long history. Started around 2005 with Olkaria 2, and that was a direct loan to KenGen. Then Olkaria 4, 150 million euro, and that was through the government. That was a sovereign loan, then on lent to KenGen. And now the third one, Meru Wind, again is direct, non-sovereign to KenGen. And so we are very glad that that's a vote of confidence by AFD on KenGen, because we have been able to fulfill all the conditions to be able to benefit from a non-sovereign loan.
Congratulations on that, because that's quite a significant statement from your side. We're talking about an enormous financing requirement as you try to meet the energy need of a country like ourselves, as we try and industrialize. Part of the Big Four is industrialization. Tell us a little bit about do you have the financing for the rest? I heard 60 million euros from Meru. I heard another 60 from KfW. But for all these projects, do you have the financing to complete them?
The project Meru Wind, 80 megawatts, the cost is about 130 million euro. And we have what we have from AFD, 60 million, KfW of Germany, another 60 million, and the balance of 10 will be financed by KenGen. So I wish to confirm that we have all the financing in place.
Fantastic, and thank you very much.
If I may add to that,
yes.
I mean, the question is not only the volume of financing, it's also the maturity.
Yes.
And the loan we provide is
is
a loan for 18 years.
Yes.
So, of course, with our subsidiary, so this is something that the financial market here in Nairobi is not providing.
Yes.
And this is where development banks like AFD, like KfW, like others are positioning themselves. And of course, these long-term financing are particularly relevant for long-term investment, profitable, but that needs this distance, this time span to be implemented.
Let me ask you a question then, a final question. If you look at the capital markets here in East Africa,
yes,
and you're now lending at this very long-term maturity. What would you like to see happen in our capital markets that are going to assist both of you to achieve what you're looking to achieve?
I mean, the fact that KenGen is listed, so the development of the stock exchange here in Nairobi is very important. And for us, investors, this is very reassuring in terms of transparency. And my second plea would be, of course, we are developers. The idea is really to have banks and the financial system turning in the direction of SDGs. So SDGs can be mitigating the climate change effect, but we have to go also in terms of adaptation, water, agriculture, and so soon we will provide financing for that to the Kenyan financial system. It can go in the direction of gender. I mean, all these, yes, of course.
Rebecca
Kenyan
was
is
the
exemplary.
first, I think, the first female CEO, right?
Right, yes.
Of a government parastatal.
Of
Am I right?
Kenyan,
Of Kenyan.
yes.
But yeah, so that's one.
So let's do the difficult side. This is what it is all about. And one last comment is, geothermal is an example. This plant here on Ngong Hills also. Let me tell you that you are innovating here in Kenya, and we learn from you. And the development policy, development banks like AFD are no longer going one way. Of course, we want to provide technology transfers. We want to provide long-term financing, but we want also to bring back home in France, in Europe, many European partners here, the technologies you are inventing here, the use of technology that is happening here for common interest. This is the motto of AFD is a world in common, and this is what we are experiencing here.
That's Rebecca. Any final comments from you?
No, we are just very grateful for this milestone and the fact that we are hosting one of the senior most delegation in this wind farm. We really appreciate it. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you. Thank you,
Alicia.
both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.